I'm Caleb Giddings from Gun Nuts Media. In today's video, we're talking about going to the gun store. And this is especially close to home for me because I own and operate a gun store, National Armory, here in lovely Pompano Beach, Florida. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about the 5 worst kind of employees that you run into at a gun store. Number 5, the old timer. Look, if you're a young looking guy like me, or you're a female, you've probably run into the old timer, because this is the guy who says, well, you should get yourself a 1911 and 45 because they all fall to hardball. Like, seriously, the development of firearms stopped for this guy with the 1911 or with revolvers. And there's nothing wrong with 1911s or revolvers, but there have been kind of a few advances in firearms and ammunition technology since the year of our Lord 1911, but not to the old timer. The old timer wants a 1911 and 45 ACP. He thinks AR-15s are poodle shooters, and he wants an M14 and 308. Those are his guns, and since those are his guns, those are the right guns for everyone. Number 4. The junior internet airsoft expert. This guy is the opposite of the old timer. He's young, mid-20s, doesn't have any real experience with firearms outside of what he's read on gun forums and in magazines and stuff like that. And believe me, he has read all of them. He has multiple accounts. He's got a Glock Talk account. He's got a Air15.com account. He's got accounts on all of the sub forums. He's got accounts on Facebook, and he's got burner accounts too, because he's probably been banned from at least 2 or 3 of these forums. But he knows everything. He knows what the latest, greatest gun is. He knows what the latest, greatest ammo is, and he knows it because he read someone else who's actually used it talking about it on the internet. He probably carries a Roland Special and an appendix carry holster completely without understanding the point or purpose of appendix carry or the Roland Special, and he just does it because the cool kids are doing it. Number 3, the ex-military guy whose military experience had nothing to do with firearms. It's perfectly awesome to serve in the military in an honorable capacity as somebody who doesn't touch guns. There's the majority of the United States military doesn't really touch guns as a part of their day-to-day job. They just don't, and that's across all branches. There are far more people who can serve an honorable career or a 4-year enlistment and basically only ever interact with a firearm in basic training. That's cool, dude. But if you were a motor T guy, or you were an avionics repairman or something like that, and then you get a job working at a gun shop because, hey, you like guns, that's also awesome. Don't reference your military experience like it's actually relevant to firearms. Just be humble and learn stuff. That's all you gotta do. But the problem is, you go into shops and there's that guy, and he wants to tell you all about what they taught him in the military about shooting, even though he was in the Air Force and he only ever shot an M16 once during basic training, and since he never deployed, he never had to requal with an M4. Don't be that guy. Number 2. This is danger close on me, because if there's any of these archetypes that I am the most likely to be, it's the turbo salesman. And the turbo salesman wants to sell you something, and he doesn't care what that thing is. He really doesn't. If you come in and you want to buy a 9mm, if you come in and you want to buy a Gen 5 Glock 19, well, maybe I don't have a Gen 5 Glock 19, but I'm gonna frickin' sell you something before you walk out the door. The turbo salesman he's like a used car salesman. He is grinding for the sale at every opportunity. Maybe he works at a shop that pays on commission, or maybe he just likes to sell stuff, or maybe like me, he's a little bit of an a-hole. But anyway, he loves to sell, and you can come in and you can ask all kind of questions, and you don't even realize that you've been dealing with the turbo salesman until you walk out of the store having paid $400 for a gun you didn't even actually kind of want that much. He's good at his job though, and that's why guys like me love the turbo salesman. Sorry. And that brings us to the worst, the number 1, the worst employee in a gun store. I actively go out of my way to not hire people like this, and I discipline employees when they act like this, and I very proactively try to keep myself from being this guy, because this guy is the worst, and this guy is the know-it-all. And the problem with the know-it-all is he combines the bad traits of all of the other gun store employees. He is condescending, he's aggressive. You could come in and you could have a well laid out rational reason why you want to purchase a Smith & Wesson J-frame, the 442 we'll say. It's the one with the concealed hammer, it's all black, it's a solid carry gun. Well, you come into the know-it-all and you say, yeah, I'd like to buy this J-frame right here, and you're gonna say, no, what you actually want is a Glock 43, because the know-it-all has decided in his estimation that the Glock 43 is the best gun for you. And that's not acceptable. That's not good customer service, that's not good salesmanship, and that's not representing the gun industry well either. The know-it-all is actually dangerous, because the know-it-all pushes his personal preferences and opinions on other people as though they are gospel, and the know-it-all's preferences and opinions frequently are not based on data. There's a huge world of difference between someone coming in and asking me and saying, hey, what 9mm do you recommend? Well, then that's a place for my preferences and opinions. I can say, I recommend the Glock 43 over the Springfield XDS because Glock has a much higher reputation for quality control than Springfield. Or I can say, I recommend the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield over the Walther PPQ because Smith & Wesson's customer service is better. There are times and places for opinions, and that time and place is when the customer, you, the people watching this video who are going to come into my store, are asking me questions. It is never okay for an employee of a gun store to tell you what you want. And that's why the know-it-all is the #1 worst employee of the gun store. Now again, I own a gun store, and if you ever come into my store, National Armory in Pompano Beach, Florida, and you encounter these behaviors from my employees, send me an email at caleb@gunway.com, and I will personally address it. Until next time, remember, run your gun, not your mouth. Thanks for watching.